Categories Workshop. My name is Anne Marie, and I like to make things. And this is my April Makes planning session. Last month was so successful. I ended up making 24 things, which I don't think is the norm, but I guess I was on fire because I was very organized, and so I thought I'd do it again. I know in May I'll be traveling, so most likely in May it will be things like hauls, and because I'm planning to shop in May when I go to America, so it won't be any makes videos. So I'm gonna see what I get done this coming April, and so I thought I would flesh out the things I'm going to be working on. If this is the kind of content you like, subscribe, like, and share. I love hearing from you all, and I love doing this sewing. This is like the best stage of my life. Also, shout out to the ladies who sponsored So Frugal 22. Thank you. I received a prize, and I'm so grateful because I know it was random drawings for all of us who participated, and thousands of people participated. I just want to take a moment to say how much I enjoyed that challenge. I enjoyed sewing for it. I spent a wonderful day on March 31st is when everyone posted their makes. And I got a cup of tea and some cookies, and I just scrolled through and looked at everyone's makes, found all these pattern companies I never heard of who had free patterns. I did buy quite a few patterns as well, but not too bad, and I enjoyed it so much. So Ruan from Frugalissima, and oh, what's the other? The Yorkshire Girl. Now I should know that. I was born in Yorkshire. I should know that. All right, so here we go. Now what I did last month is I divided my sewing into certain sections so that I could move forward on projects that were lagging behind, as well as things that all of a sudden popped up and I was excited about sewing. So I divided into these categories, and I had things I do from bargain fabric that I buy at my local Ping fabric store here in Mandeville, Jamaica, and I have a 9 makes challenge that continues on through the year. I'm trying to finish those 9 things that I wanted to get done because they have been, some of them been hanging around for years. And by making this a 9, going through it and choosing something once a month to work on, I'm making my way through. I also wanted to work on my quilts. Quilts are another thing that you can take years on, and I'm not rushing that. It's just that the quilt that I'm working on right now, I started it, I think, when my daughter was in her teens. Y'all, she's 35. So I would like to finish this and take it with me and drop it off at her house in May. All right, and I also had Whimsy. Whimsy is something that, and I have the perfect thing for it. That's something I just want to make. You know, I don't necessarily have a thing in mind. It's not necessarily for me. It's just something I want to make, something that's interesting. And then I also have cleanups and past, like, grandfather projects. In other words, sometimes I like to watch a lot of movies or listen to music or talk on the phone, and I like to cut things out. So I'll find something and I'll cut it out, and I store them in these big 66 quart containers. And so when it's time to sew, like there's a movie coming on I want to see or something, and I like it, I just pull it out. So there are going to be quite a few projects that I pull out. And there's also going to be stuff that I've pulled out that I want to cut out, because I like to cut things out too. I like the whole planning of what projects I'm going to put together with what fabric and stuff like that. And sometimes, if enough time has passed, which it very often does, when I pull the bag out, it's like Christmas, because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to sew this. When did you have this idea, Anne Marie? So if you're like that, I hope this appeals to you also. So my categories are 9 makes, bargain, quilts, whimsy, past cutouts, grandfathered in projects, and cleanup. And I'll explain cleanup to you. Now, with constructing 24 garments last month, as well as I work on things, I create quite a lot of waste. So if I don't want to throw things in the garbage, I do like to make bolsters, tuffets. I also like to see if I can get another garment out of a less than 1 yard piece of fabric. So sometimes that means a color blocked thing, or sometimes it means some of my favorite patterns that I keep that clean up fabric busters or stash busters, things that take a little less than a yard that you can make into something that either you can use or someone else can use. So I like to have just the very dregs left of fabric, and I will show you where I store my scraps. I keep 2 giant containers for scraps. One 100% cotton scraps, because that feeds into my quilting, and the other one is a mix, and I use that for stuffing dolls, tuffets, bolsters, all kinds of things that you can make for people, so that waste does not go into the landfill. Okay, these are my 2 buckets that I keep for my scraps. When they reach capacity, it's time to take action. Okay, so the very top one is filled with fabric that is not 100% cotton, right? It's not 100% cotton. So those need to be used in cushions, pillows, as an under cushion or pillows that is going to have a cover, because most likely you're not going to be able to submerge these things in water. You're going to just need them to use them as stuffing. And below, I keep in this bottom bucket, I keep all my quilting stuff. So then I'll separate them into colors, and I can go on to make wonderful quilts to give to people. And then after that stage, they will move on. So this is kind of my sustainability plan. I hate to throw it in the trash when it's not going to break down. And so I try and make things that people like, and they don't run from me when I give them that gift. Now here's an example of one of my sustainability projects, also known as the Tuffet. This is the Gumdrop pillow by Amy Butler. You can find her site online, but only thing I did for this pillow is I modified it. And so I put in an industrial type zipper, and it's filled with all of the scraps left over from other projects. This is the smallest size. I have the larger size, the medium size. They can stack on top of one another, and they're a wonderful gift. Now, the thing about this will be my first cover. I would recommend, if you do something like this, that this will be your base, and that whenever you need a touch up, don't unload it with all of the scraps and things like that. You can do that, but just make another one to slide this inside of, so it will make a cover. So I have not made a cover for this yet. I'm still going to use this until the time this gets so dirty that it's time to make another cover. All right, and it came out very, very nice. This must be my 4th one that I've made, and they're substantial. They don't slide across the floor. You can stuff them with regular batting, but this is a way to get rid of your fabric waste. Also, here is another pattern that you can use to put your waste in. I think you can find this with Quick Sew, McCall's, maybe even Simplicity in their craft section. They're great on the airplane as well. I've made quite a few for my father. I keep some downstairs and upstairs. The original is stuffed with items from my scrap pile, but then after that I made a larger pattern. I used this one. I made a larger pattern and made a sleeve or a cover to cover this, so that this doesn't have to go in the laundry, the cover does. So it's just a good way to use up your scraps. In the future, I'm going to do a whole video on sustainability sewing, so I'll show you some of the other things, what I do with excess scraps. But let's go to what I plan to make in April. All right, the first thing I want to work on is Vogue 9377, and this will go under my bargain makes category. I found this really crazy sheer fabric that's white. Sorry, I didn't mean to crinkle. With green polka dots. All right, it was in the $1.49 or $1 something a yard section of my local fabric store, and I wanted to make this cover up, and I'll show you the drawing I am doing, the line drawing I am doing, version B right here, because I have made that white A-line dress, and I thought that this would be really pretty over it. And just the challenge of a bargain make. All right, it is going to take, I've already cut out, but it is going to take 4.5 yards. And so I've already cut it out and it's ready to go. Then this next pattern is under my section that I use for whimsical, caught my attention, brand new gift. All right, and this is McCall's 8252. I think that this dress is fire, but it's not fire for me. But I do know an 18-year-old who's graduating from high school, who has a lovely figure, and who I think would love this. I am doing view B with the large sleeves, and I found this crinkled taffeta to make it out of. I think it's going to be lovely on her skin. Now, here's the only thing about something like that. I forwarded it to her mom. Even though she's 18 years old, I'm looking for her feedback. And then I sent her a letter saying, is this something that you'd like your daughter in? As one mom to another. And she said she'd love it, and she's gonna forward it to my cousin, and I'll hear back from them, and then I'll get started on which version they want. I love this one with the large puffy sleeves. I think it makes it very, very classy, and she can wear that anywhere. But she might want the ones without the fuss on the sleeve. She might want the sleeveless. It'll be up to her. I'll find out soon. Now under Whimsy, wait for it. Here's McCall's 8267. Now look, folks, I have no grandchildren yet. I am years away from grandchildren, but these dresses are to die for. Now, one of my besties has 3 granddaughters, so I'm borrowing them because I need to make this unicorn dress and this rainbow dress. I may not make this dress because my friend's youngest granddaughter is 2 years old, and I don't, oh, they have a 2? No, 8 months old. So she's too young. But I thought if I really make these and something very sturdy, they can pass on up through the granddaughters. My only challenge is the right color palette, because they have a little redheadedness in them. So if they're going to do the red hair, I have to watch what goes against their complexion and see what works for them. You know, I don't want to clash with the freckles. My next make is from last month's So Frugal challenge that I made references that I was going to finish. I made the lovely jacket, which I'll insert somewhere around here, but I had not made the shorts. So I had cut them out, have them all ready to go in that same army green, and I'm going to make the shorts to go with the jacket. And that is for my Melly Mel, my daughter-in-law, because I think it's a cute outfit that she might like. So that's on my April makes list as well. Now in April, I'm gonna also continue on my Giggles quilt. I'm making some headway. I have done the basic applique of the little girl jumping rope. I've done some of that, and now it's just a matter of stitching on all of my daughter's badges from Girl Scouts, from soccer games. I have some soccer balls to applique on there, but once I do that, it'll be time to sandwich and stipple stitch and all that stuff that quilters do. So I would like to finish that before May because I'd like to bring it with me and leave it at my daughter's house finally. My next make is from Connie Crawford, Sputterek 5538. It is part of my 9 makes challenge, and it was to make view C of these patterns. All right, and so move my hand so you can see the line drawings. It's just a classic shirt, but I really had some really interesting fabrics, which I'll show you now, that I wanted to make these jackets with. Now, check out these avocados. So one of them is going to be avocado, and one is going to be all my people of color, and I can't wait to get started on that. I finally found the right green for the buttons, and I also found I had some black glossy buttons for the black shirt, so I'm going to work on these 2 shirts, and that is going to be off my 9 makes pattern challenge. When I make these, I will only have 3 more makes to fulfill my 9 makes. So wish me luck. Now, as far as my cleanup section, I'm going to be using Simplicity 1621. I used it to make those lovely A-line slip dresses last month, but I had fabric left over, and I am going to use them to make view B, which is these camisoles. Because it fits so nicely on me here, I wanted a shorter version. I am not going to put the elastic in the waist, but I'm going to use them underneath a few things. And I had leftover fabric from quite a few items, so I will show you. I have leftover fabric from this huge graphic print that I got from Fabric Mart. I also have leftover fabric from this red satin. I'm working on a dress for that. You'll see that at a later date. I also have another one from Fabric Mart, which is this large print that I saw advertised on Sherry's Alchemy, another vlogger, and that beautiful blue fabric that I put the black facing on. I had enough to make a short version and a short version of the white. So these are things that they take so little to do, and they will really help in your wardrobe underneath different things. And this is what kind of to do with less than a yard. You'll end up with some nice pieces that you sometimes have to pay for at the store to go with your stuff, and you already have things that you have the material for. Now we're into my grandfathered in section. In other words, I already cut it out when I was having a cutting out frenzy, and so now I'm going to pull something from the past to work on. So my first thing this month that I'm going to work on is this Isaac Mizrazi's suit. Now, once again, nowhere to wear it to. It's too hot here. But as I found out from last month, if I make it, someone will come for it, or something will come for it. As what happened with that ball gown, it has left. It has left the building. It's going to Italy, and it's going to Los Angeles. It's gone. So you never know what you're sewing for. So anyway, this fabric I bought from Fabric Mart very long ago. It's a beautiful wool and lurex fabric. It's that color on that side. The back side has the ovals. I'm not exactly sure which side I'm going with. I think it might be this side. I won't be able to tell until I start making it. But that was something that was in my bucket that would just stay there forever because I wouldn't have a need for it, but I really think it will be an enjoyable sew. I have another Isaac Mizrazi shirt that I will include here that came out really lovely. So that's my first of my grandfathered projects that I'm going to be working on. Now this next pattern is a Berta pattern, 7805. This has been kicking around in my stash for a very long time. So I have made I've decided to make it in a white gauze. I have a very thick gauze and a thin gauze. So I'm going to make the sleeves in the thin gauze, but the body I'm going to put with the heavier gauze as a cover-up. I know it presents itself, it can be a dress with short sleeves and everything, but I really need a cover-up because I have to kind of gear my life towards resort wear because I'm living on a resort island and I'm not teaching in the classroom anymore, so I have to have clothes for this more leisurely life. So I'm going to work on that. That's one of the cover-ups I'm making. And my last April make that I think I'm going to work on is Simplicity 8553. It's a duster pattern, and I really don't have anywhere to wear it to either. But I got these two bold and beautiful dry clean only fabrics. I think I showed it in one of my hauls from Fabric Mart. So I washed them and line dried them to find out how they would fare, because I really don't want to deal with dry cleaning here in Jamaica. It's not that they don't have dry cleaning, I just don't want to deal with it. So I am going to make view, they call it view A. And this sleeve has a contrast overlay. And I have a black lace that I found that I'm going to use to overlay on the sleeve. Very excited about working with that. I think I got that from Fabric Mart as well. I have it cut out to go on a very elaborate project, as well as a dress with red underneath and the overlay on top, but I still had a few pieces left, so I'm trying to use up all of that. So that is the last of my items that I plan to make in April. Now here's the thing that I found out about the plan last month. Either something about doing a plan, I got through so many more things than I thought. I really only sew first thing in the morning, and I sew late in the evening, waiting for my dad to retire for the evening, but I seem to get through a lot. Now, I think it's because I've been sewing a very, very long time, and I tuck my sewing in between conversations, movie watching, music listening, YouTube video watching, all that kind of stuff. So if I'm idle, while I'm watching, it takes nothing for me to sew at the same time, as long as I've measured out and done everything. I hope I get all these things done, but if I don't get all these things done, that's okay. I will roll it over till June. You have to take what you can get. When I used to sew 15, 20 minutes at a time, and eventually the projects got finished. And nothing feels as good as when you wear your own stuff. So we'll see how it goes. You keep sewing, and I will see you around this sewing universe.